Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Sox on Tap.
Tony, my first reaction is just fuck yes, let's go.
Sox versus the Twins. That's where it all starts. Because it all starts taking care of business in-house in the Central Division.
That's right, I'm a meatball.
You got to bring that top button swag, baby.
It is always great to beat the Cubs.
And I'm a homer, so I always say they're gonna.
Dallas Keuchel Lamson got some beards that you should be afraid of.
What everybody said when he gets out there, it's me versus the other guy, and I'm going to beat him. So I just love that mentality. It's cool and fucking tough.
Steve, would you say that Tony is mad online?
I would definitely say that.
The White Sox winner. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Sox on Tap. I am your boy Buzz, and I'm joined by everybody today. It's everybody. It's the whole Sox on Tap crew, much like Saturday, but this time we're actually recording and not getting completely wasted. We'll see. We'll actually see about that, and we'll give it some time here. But everybody, be sure you're going on tapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. Following us on Twitter at Sox on Tap, at On Tap Sportsnet. Anywhere you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to us. So give us a 5-star rating and review because that's cool and tough. And check out Grandstand. If you're by the ballpark, go to Grandstand or go to grandstandsox.com. Follow them on socials at Grandstand Sox for all your White Sox or Chicago sports related gear. Guys, it's the All-Star break. Checkup. We, as in we, are all obvious diehard White Sox fans. And guys, we're rolling into this thing right now. But let's get some checkup here. How's everybody doing tonight?
Buzz, I'm good, man. I don't know if I think Tony put out the tweet from Sox on Tap yesterday. I can't remember the last time I was this excited about the White Sox at the All-Star break. So it's great. We're going to dive into all of the good stuff that happened in the first half, overcoming adversity, next man up, resilience, all of that good shit. But yeah, good to be on and have all four of us on because usually it's a split crew, obviously, with the post-game show, but always good to get the full gang back together, old school style.
Tone?
Guys, it's been an excellent first half of the season. It's been awesome covering this team with you guys. I'm going to crack a beer, much like we did on Saturday night. That was a fun-ass time. Thank you guys all for joining for, just the end of what's been an excellent first half.
Steve?
Hey, yo, boys. Full squad. Twice in 3 days. Baby, let's go. Feeling good. Sox are in first place. Best record in the American League. Let's have some fun tonight, baby.
Absolutely. And it's been an amazing ride thus far. I mean, trials, tribulations, the clubhouse is or is not in shambles. I'm sure we'll touch on all of that here eventually. But right now, as Steve and all of you guys said, we're having a great time. 54-35, the best record in the American League right now. Boston and Houston are number 2 at 55-36. White Sox have been rolling all year. Plethora of injuries, a bunch of crap going on, but we have some news, and that's what we're going to touch on first. I'm going off the famous Johnny Nani rundown. I cannot do a podcast without my Johnny Nani rundown, so I hope that was a good introduction, Johnny, because I'm going to let you get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all right, let's take it before we even really start with the numbers here. Did you think we would have the best record in the American League at the All-Star break?
No, absolutely not. Even with the whole roster being the full lineup, absolutely not. I thought that this team would still probably be battling it out with Cleveland, maybe Minnesota. Just a few different lead changes throughout the first half of the season. I thought that we were going to need to make a trade deadline acquisition to put us over the top. I had no idea that we would be where we are right now. I thought this team was going to be very competitive, but if you go back to the beginning of this season when we did our preview show, guys, I don't think any of us had first half best team in the AL.
Full squad here. I would have thought that this team would have been right up here at the top as far as best teams in the American League. I wrote that in my season prediction article. Obviously, then when all the injuries happened, my mood kind of soured a little bit here, but I definitely wouldn't have thought that with all the injuries that took place.
I'm a homer, so I always say they're gonna. I don't know, man. I think I had the Twins. I just hate the Twins, and I'm always not optimistic about them. Always going to kick our ass, but that didn't happen. So,
hey, Buzz, if I can interrupt for a second here.
Yeah.
How are the Twins doing, by the way?
They are really bad, which makes their fans mad online.
Tone, would you say they're mad online?
I would definitely say they're mad online.
It's absolutely fantastic. But no, I don't know. I don't think I had him in first place right now. I did say playoff. I remember saying that in the review show that we did, the season review show. But I don't think I had him in first, Johnny.
No, yeah, I just wanted to get that because look at this team exceeding expectations, and that is with all of the injuries that we had. That will be a major storyline as we go through where things stand here. You look at things like run differential. That the White Sox look good, third best in baseball, plus 117, only behind the Dodgers and Houston. Home cooking played really well at the rate. 31-14. So that's great to see for, we have all been able to get out to games luckily so far this year. Can't wait for that as it continues with full capacity leading through the second half. 23-21 on the road. Hey, thanks, Orioles. You got us up over 500 on the road over the weekend. So thank you. We'll take that. And I guess the concern here, guys, is 16-25 versus teams above 500. Yes, I know you don't pick your schedule. You have to play the teams that are in your division. But we saw a situation like, I know it was early in the season, but you played a team pretty well against the Rays. You played the Blue Jays pretty well early on. And then you go to Houston and drop 4. So that would be an area of concern when we're talking about this record and kind of nitpicking it. But overall, you're taking care of business against the teams that you need to. Obviously, we saw that with a sweep of these Baltimore Orioles over the weekend. We've seen beatdowns of the Twins because they are a team you should beat this year after they basically lost the division. They lost a playoff spot in April. You can't win it in April, but you can sure as hell lose it. They did that. White Sox have beaten up on them. Tigers have done, I think, they've gotten us a couple of times here and there. But overall, I think at the end of it, when it's all said and done, the White Sox will take that season series from the Tigers as well. So what are we kind of, surprised with, impressed with? What do you have concerns? Go ahead and just talk general state of the team. And then we'll get to kind of how we got to this point of, the factors that contributed to having the prominent record that they do right now.
I guess I'd say I'm surprised the most that we're competing with all these injuries that we've had. I mean, look at it. Luis Robert, Michael Kopech for over a month. And I mean, I know he's back now. Obviously, Eloy Jimenez, who's hitting piss missiles in single A, is going up to Charlotte, AAA, tomorrow. Nick Madrigal going down. I mean, it's just Yasmani Grandal going down. It's just unbelievable. That's what I'm most surprised about is the fact that they are competitive, and not only competitive, that they're winning. And going back to your point about us being, 16-24 against, or 16-25 against teams above 500, that it's fine with me. You beat the teams that you're supposed to beat, gain momentum. Once you get to the postseason, you never know what the hell is going to happen. That's a crapshoot. So whoever's playing the hottest baseball is going to usually 9 times out of 10 win. Also, another thing to be very confident about is our record on the road this year. I know, again, we just swept the Orioles and it helped us out, but being 23-21 on the road, boys, that's not easy. It's not easy for any major league team. I don't care how good you are. I mean, it's hard, and that's what they're doing right now. And obviously, we've been getting the dubs at the rate, so I'll take that all day. But most surprised, like I am, is because of the injuries itself.
The most surprising thing that I've seen all year is some dude named Jude say that Tim Anderson is not good at baseball. That is the most surprising thing that I've seen all year. I just got to go out and say it because, as we've said on this show, he's the straw that stirs the drink. He's even missed a few games, nagging injuries and stuff. But if you really look at this lineup, it's been driven by Tim Anderson and Jose Abreu. And both of those guys, we can make arguments, haven't even been the best versions of themselves. So there's been a lot of supplemental offense that this team has received. And you look at this pitching staff. I mean, each guy through the rotation right now, you feel comfortable with throwing the baseball as your starting pitcher in almost every single ball game. You go back to all the other years that we've watched this team, and you can always pick out 1 or 2 guys in the rotation where you're like, this is going to be a problem. I'm sorry, I know we loved Ross Detweiler here, but did we really feel that fucking confident with him on the mound? Did we feel confident with Reynaldo Lopez? No.
I did for Ross, but all right.
That's the biggest thing so far this year. And Buzz, I want to double down on some of the injury things you talked about. This team's missing Aaron Bummer and Evan Marshall right now, 2 vets out of the bullpen who are 7th and 8th inning options. This team has all the talent in the world, and I truly do believe they're going to make some noise because they have it.
My one key takeaway from this first half, and one word: resiliency. I've talked about this a couple of times on some of the post-game shows with everybody here. Unless you're the 2018 Red Sox or the 86 Mets, some of those historic teams, the 98 Yankees that just go and run people over from start to finish, you're going to face some adversity throughout the course of a 162-game baseball season. This team has had a shit ton of it already here through the first half of this season, and they have found a way to overcome that next man up mentality that we've talked about quite a bit, the contribution that they've gotten from unheralded guys that you weren't expecting anything out of, from the Jay Clams of the world, from the Billy Hamiltons, from the Larry Garcias, just kind of up and down this roster. They're getting contributions from guys, plugging them in spots when pivotal guys have gotten hurt. If you would have told me that 3 guys from the starting lineup would get injured, one guy would be lost for the season in June, and then your 2 best starting outfielders would play 25 games, all of which coming from Luis Robert at the All-Star break, and they'd be in first place. I said there's no fucking chance. But this team is continuing to find a way. They have a belief in themselves. And Tony, you talk about the it factor with it. There is definitely something there with this team. And the fact that they just keep finding a way when they get some sort of adversity pushed in front of them, they say, all right, fuck it, we're going to overcome. This is what we're going to do.
Yes, Steve, I'll double down on your point. Yeah, you said resiliency. I'll use next man up. It is the factor that has been the most surprising to me, because I didn't think you would get the levels of production that you would, especially out of a guy like Brian Goodwin, who is our cleanup hitter right now. Noted, a power rake type of guy. Is guys like him, Luis Garcia, turning it on as of late. You had Jake Lamb with a 146 weighted runs created plus at some point in early June. It was insane. You were getting and I just did not expect that. I thought we were going to have a drop off, and I thought we were going to have really have to grind it out even against some of those teams that are definitely worse than us, the teams that we should be beating. But and there's always going to be times where that's going to happen within an individual game. But on the overall, the ability of the next men up to go and do that, because guess what? All right. We all went in a little bit here on performance and on the field stuff. Let's talk general karma, luck. Okay, they had terrible luck when you're talking about injuries. Obviously, we know the long list of guys, especially impact guys that have gone down. And people I've seen some refer to it as the White Sox are getting all their bench luck in one year. Well, guess what? That's the universe evening itself out to me. The baseball gods giving you a little something back, even though they took a big chunk away from you to start. So that's my first initial thoughts here when we're talking about where the White Sox stand at the All-Star break. Let's dive into how we got here a little bit, and I think we have to absolutely start at the top with starting pitching. I know we'll get to depth guys in a little bit, talk a little bit more about them, but you're not here without Carlos Rodon, Lance Lynn, the other guys in the rotation there with Lucas Giolito, Dylan Cease, Dallas Keuchel. Obviously, not exactly what we expected from Giolito this year, but hey, you get an absolute career year from Carlos Rodon here. He is very well deserving of being out in Denver right now at the All-Star game, along with Lance Lynn, 1.99 ERA. That is cool and tough. And Dylan Cease starting to figure some things out. Not as consistent, I don't think, as we would like it right now, but we got to remember this guy's still young, still figuring it out, and he has strikeout potential, able to settle in. We saw after the first 2 batters in that Sunday game, last one before the All-Star break here. And my biggest thing, and before I hand it over to you guys, talk about starting pitching, whatever you want to branch off into, is knock on wood here, no major injuries. We've had that across the rest of the lineup, position players and bullpen, but starting pitchers, we have not had a major injury. I think I was trying to count it up with you guys on Saturday, and what was it? Lance Lynn went for a strained lat in mid to late April. That was the only time, and he only missed 1 start. Kopech filled in beautifully. And then Dylan Cease went on for the COVID IL, and he didn't even miss his start. So he came back within 3 days. And that was it. That's it for starting pitchers. Go ahead. I'll open up to you guys. Anything on starting pitching from the first half?
That's pretty fucking phenomenal, honestly, that our starting pitching has stayed healthy as long as it has, and it's done what it's done. I know a lot of people were upset about, Carlos Rodon being brought back, but I mean, when he was brought back, we were talking about him competing for a 5th rotation spot with a guy like Ronaldo Lopez. That was being talked about. Ultimately, Rodon gets the spot, and he his name should be brought up in the Cy Young this year. I don't know if it'll happen or not, but it'd be great. Be a great story for him. But look, almost a damn near a perfect game turns into a no-hitter because that douchebag didn't jump out of the way, dick. And then, the ultimate consistency out of him. 89 and 2/3 pitched for him this year. He's got a 2.31 ERA. He's striking out 13 per 9. The dude has been electric, absolutely electric, and it shows you why he was the third pick in a draft back then out of North Carolina State. He's a beast, and finally, after all the injuries, all the bullshit he had to go through, his career is completely turned around, and he is helping lead this White Sox team, to the what we hope is the promised land. He's got a 3.6 F4 right now, Carlos Rodon. It's amazing, boys, amazing. So. I just wanted to touch on that because you guys know I'm a Rodon homer. I got his bobblehead right there on the main TV, the Buzz Cave. I just always love the dude.
I got a question for the group here. Does the Lance Lynn trade make sense to anyone yet?
Oh no, man. Well, Dunning's got a bright future. I don't know, man.
No, I'm still pissed off about it because potential or depth or something.
Yeah. When I think of Lance Lynn, I think of two things. Guts and nuts. That's what this fucking team needed. They needed somebody to go out there, take the ball, and we see it every fifth day. And every fifth day, they pan in on him as he's walking off the mound in the 6th inning, telling somebody to shove it up their fucking ass or telling some little slapdick to sit the fuck down. That's the type of attitude, that's the type of mentality that I love seeing. I think you need a guy like that on every staff. It's hard to have 5 guys like that in your starting rotation there, but you have that one guy out there that's just an absolute motherfucker that wants to take the ball and wants to just ram it down the other team's throat from pitch number 1 right there. Lance Lynn is that guy. I absolutely love it. Love going out to the ballpark, watching that guy. I mean, he's just an absolute beast. He is an absolute Southsider, and I can't wait to watch this guy in the second half, and I can't wait to watch him ultimately get the ball in the playoffs, go after somebody and get a dub, help push this team towards hopefully an American League pennant in the World Series.
I like that you bring that up, Steve, because you talk about a guy who can just bring that energy. And you've got Tim Anderson. He's brought some energy to this team. You signed Adam Eaton to try and be kind of that guy as well. Didn't pan out the way we all thought it would, or maybe it panned out exactly how some thought it would. But very quietly, just like that 05 roster that we always compare every baseball team to, he's like your AJ Pierzynski on this team. He gets people motivated. He gets under the opponent's skin. He's just that guy, Steve. You put it perfectly. I can't even add more to that. But one thing that he's done is he's kind of carried that energy over to some of the rest of the guys on the starting rotation. Like, look at Carlos Rodon right now. Look at the way Michael Kopech acts when he's on the mound. It's a little bit different because that energy is fucking contagious. And that's what Lance Lynn provides. I hope they just re-sign him now. Just lock him up because if there's somebody who represents the White Sox and what you want this team to be about, it's Lance Lynn.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I believe I chose Lance Lynn for when we did our kind of team awards here. White Sox team Cy Young would be Lance Lynn. Obviously, you can't discount what Carlos Rodon has done here. But when you talk about all factors considered, maybe we evaluate that a little bit different than the Baseball Writers Association of America would. Lance Lynn, integral part of this thing. 1.99 ERA. I know that's not the end-all, be-all in pitching stats here, but still contributing 2.5 F4 here for your team. That shows his value. And then obviously it goes beyond that for the mentality side that Steve put together so well there. And just I like his quotes too when he's talking about it. First of all, he feels like he fits here. That's great. I love that, feel like you're a Southsider and you're probably going to play up to those expectations even better. And then second of all, motivating the other guys to do so. You guys talked on that. So that gets through starting pitchers. Let's talk role players now, guys. We had Yerman. Torrid first month to carry the offense here. We had Jake Lamb, like I mentioned, that sort of mid-May through like early June, him offering some power. Billy Hamilton, infectious personality, elite speed and defense, some timely hitting. That Baltimore series over Memorial Day was pretty much the Billy Hamilton series. We got Brian Goodwin, our cleanup hitter. as of late, he's been raking. He's been putting together great games as of late. I cannot believe that he is only at 0.6 F4 at this point in time. As we go further down the list in there, Lurie Garcia had a rough start. A lot of calls for the DFA, but he's your Swiss Army knife. He's showing his value now, and he's doing it with some pop. You see that slugging percentage shoot up throughout the end of June into early July here, and he's getting on base more frequently. Adam Engel, finally good to have him back, but now he's not just defense and speed Adam Engel. He still brings that, but now he's power hitter Adam Engel. Guys, role players, how important have they been, and who's your favorite so far?
I've been a big Be Good fan, Brian Goodwin, when we signed him to a minor league contract. You know, Pittsburgh gave up on him, and it was really funny. I was listening to the radio this morning, and they were like, man, if Pittsburgh gives up on you, what the hell was going on? It was just like, well, that's because Pittsburgh is terrible, and they don't know talent if it bit him in the ass. I'm sorry. I meant it a little bit. But I love
Garrett Cole, so let's
very good. You know what, Donnie? Thank you. Thank you for
traded
backing me
Glass
up
now
like
as
that.
well.
traded Glass now.
Hey, yeah, what idiots. Anyway, I've loved what Brian Goodwin has given us. I like Billy Hamilton a lot, but I actually have a really big problem with him because he's ducking me for this slip and slide contest. Started to piss me off a little bit. So I'm getting a little irritated by that. But no, I loved what Goodwin has brought. Nani, I don't know if you want to get into this with me here, but I feel like I should bring it up because a lot of people, you said role players. How about our guy? How about Lurie?
Yeah.
Stepping up when injuries have happened. Yes, very, very rough start to the season. I think we can all attest to that here for Lurie Garcia. Very rough start to the season. What he's done since Madrigal has gone down, and even before that, what he was doing, huge. People that are not supposed to be carrying you are carrying you. And it's absolutely amazing to see, and that's why there's magic around this season. If I had to pick a favorite role player, it's definitely Brian Goodwin.
Would you think that Lurie Garcia and Jose Abreu have the same F4 right now?
That is amazing, though. It's absolutely amazing. We don't need a trade for a 2B.
The Lurie haters will be on you for this one.
Go and look it up.
Yeah. I mean, the stats are available to everyone. Nani doesn't have some super secret fucking, computer that tells him what everything is. You can find it at Fangraphs Baseball Reference. Go check it out.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, Lurie's been absolutely fantastic, but a guy that I just don't want to not have on this team. And when tough decisions do start coming up, it's Brian Goodwin. I don't know how you guys feel. I'd like for him to be an outfield option. He could play all the spots in the outfield, and I'd like him to stick around. He's been my favorite guy this year so far. Love Be Good.
Party, party, party. Everybody get drunk. That tweet that should be like on a shirt somewhere. And, I've kind of talked to Johnny about Goodwin a little bit. He reminds me of Carl Everett on the 05 team.
Does he believe in dinosaurs?
That's the only thing. We don't know if Goodwin believes in dinosaurs
we need
or
to
not.
find this out.
But we do need to find this out, and then we can call him Carl Everett. But if you think about it, here's this power hitter outfield guy who just gets the job done, but he's really nobody's favorite player unless you're really, really tuned in. And Johnny, isn't he becoming one of your favorite players?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, just look at as of late, it's kind of a what have you done for me lately league. I think that's no secret. And what he's done for us lately is nothing but multi-hit games, big RBI spots, and you love guys that are opportunistic.
Yes. He's very opportunistic. And if we're going over role players too, I mean, Steve brought it up early, Jay Clam. Is this an appropriate time for me to talk about Gavin Sheets? Can you throw Andrew Vaughn into a role player?
We've got a young gun section, so save it for
We do have a young gun section. Okay, well, we'll talk about them later, but some of the young guys too have stepped in and taken over role player type roles on the team and gotten the job done. So there's been so much depth that you've found. I was texting with my cousin earlier today, and he sent me a message asking, what are your thoughts on?
Did you just say the word depth when referring to the White Sox, Tony?
I did use the word depth.
I've been told they don't have any.
Is that allowed?
I think that's that.
Can we get a roll?
We're at a point right now, Steve, where you do have so much depth. You look at this outfield, and you add Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez back into it, and you do have tough decisions to make. Why? Depth is your answer.
That's great points. As far as my pick for role player so far, I got to go with my guy, B. Ham. I mean, because I was in attendance for both of his home runs. So I have no choice because I like to think that I inspired him. I brought out that power in him. I was there. He said, you know what? NWI Steve, he's alive. He's living. There are signs. There's proof of life. I need to hit dingers for him, and he did.
He's
So that's
ducking me, bro.
I'm sorry, Buzz. I look. I'll see. Maybe if I can have some of my people get in contact with him here, see if we can make this happen.
Yeah, his people talk to your people, and
Yeah,
we'll get it set up.
Yeah,
All right.
I got a guy.
Does that in fact make me one of your people, or am I just a person? Is what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, it's kind of like those mob movies. Friend of mine, friend of ours, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I dig it. Absolutely.
Friend of ours. Yeah. All right, let's go next section, Tony. Like you want to talk, and I'll hand it right over to you. Is the young guns, and obviously Andrew Vaughn been here since the beginning. Most recently, Gavin Sheets, Jake Berger called up. Even before that, I'm going to loop Nick Madrigal into this because let's not discount what he did before he went down with his injury. He was around until about early June. I believe it was June 5th, June 6th was when he went down. And this guy at the time when he went down, 305, 349. 425 slash line, a couple home runs too, and you have in there, and then 1.4 F4 before the injury. RIP Nick Madrigal. But let's talk about some of the other guys that have been getting it done. The youth. Tony, I know who you want to talk about first, so go right ahead.
I'm actually going to save him for a little bit later, and it's not very often I get goosebumps when we're thinking of it and talking about this White Sox team. But the fact that we can sit here and you brought up a bunch of names, and Luis Robert, Eloy Jimenez, Yohan Moncada, so the young guns. Is a whole second class that we have right here because most of this team is young. Most of this team doesn't have the major league experience outside of a few years. And this team was really built very interestingly. But you look at this class, I guess, when you consider, Andrew Vaughn and Gavin Sheets, Berger, some of these guys, Nick Madrigal, who basically just came up to the show. And all of them have somewhat just worked out, Johnny. And one thing that you've always talked about is guys who come up and just rake. Andrew Vaughn, right off the bat. This dude, I had so many problems with him even making the major league roster just because it didn't make sense to me that we were going to throw him into left field and expect to get production out of a guy who is changing positions basically at the major league level, not even with an established minor league career. And look what he's done. He's come up clutch. Just even this past weekend, he's out there carrying the team. He's got star written all over him. Gavin Sheets comes up, immediately just starts raking from the left side of the plate, something that the White Sox have been searching for seemingly forever. He comes up and he starts Phil Rowe. Well, I don't know, but he's put up enough production to, again, carry the team through some spots where you'd want a star doing that. You go down to Nick Madrigal, and the first half of his season, or I don't know, it's just short of a half. The first half of the year, when you had Nick Madrigal in the lineup, he was starting to get so hot where you're talking, man, this guy is the absolute real deal. You have this all over the field. I don't feel like I've ever been this positive on a Sox on Tap show. But let's realize how special that is for multiple guys just coming into the big leagues to be that successful. That's not normal. That's absolutely not normal.
No, you're right. It's not. I think that I'm most impressed with Andrew Vaughn. And the reason being is because, yeah, he was struggling a little bit. I mean, you saw it within his average, right? You saw it within his OBP. But the guy, remember how last year in 2020, we always talked about how the Sox kill left-handed pitching, and it's what are we, 18-8 or some shit like that against them this year, or whatever the case may be. We're still very good against left-handed pitching, but as a guy like Andrew Vaughn, who was struggling a bit, getting his feet under him, I guess. Look, these are the numbers that he's had against left-handed pitching this year, okay? He's had 89 plate appearances against him. He's hitting 303, slashing 303, 404, and 632. He's just been absolutely fantastic. 166 OPS plus there. He's got 5 home runs and 10 RBIs against him. I mean, it's pretty good numbers for Andrew Vaughn. Absolutely. And again, keep in mind, this guy didn't play against Double-A, which is where usually is the hardest to play in. He hasn't played above high Single A. I think he's been the most impressive guy. Madrigal was up last year in the 2020 season for a hot minute. Got hurt a little bit. He still doesn't even have a full season of MLB play under his belt yet. I mean, we got to keep that in mind too, right, boys? I mean, he really doesn't have that. Does Luis Robert have that? I don't think Luis Robert has that. So, I mean, there's a million different scenarios that play in here, but I'm most intrigued by Andrew Vaughn, and I'm most pleased with him. I think that he's just been absolutely fantastic. Those other guys I just mentioned, they got to go through the minors, go through the ranks. Andrew Vaughn did not.
You bring up some great points about Andrew Vaughn, there, Buzz and Tony. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think there was some article on a website called On Tap Sportsnet today, kind of talking about Andrew Vaughn and some of the progression he's made recently. I feel like anybody watching this or listening to this may want to go check it out, because I feel like there's some decent data in there kind of talking about Andrew Vaughn and his growth and development here at the big league level. I think you guys are missing one important guy, though, and I'm going to steer away from the positional side of it here. Michael Kopech.
Ooh, I thought you were going to go with Zach Collins.
No. So I had a lot of reservations about Michael Kopech coming into this season, just simply because of the fact that we're talking about a guy that when spring training rolled around in February, it had been 2.5 years since he last threw a competitive pitch. When I was at that game in late August of 2018 when his elbow exploded against Detroit. And, everything that's gone on with him since then, from the personal side of it, taking the year off from, the COVID situation and everything, it was a lot to take in. And for a guy to be away from the game for that long, there were serious question marks about, was he going to come back as the same guy? Because pitching is very much a feel thing. And to be away from the mound for that extended of a period of time, I think it was only fair to question, is he going to be the same guy? Is he going to be the impactful guy that we all thought he was going to be when the Sox acquired him from Boston in the Chris Sale deal? And he has answered every single question right from the get-go here this season. And he has been one of the most integral parts of this pitching staff. And he's been one of the most integral parts of a bullpen that, if we have to be completely honest here, has been extremely mediocre at best here in the first half of this 2021 season, something that I know I certainly was not anticipating. But he has been one of the stalwarts and one of the guys that you could really count on. And he's been versatile enough in some of these doubleheader scenarios to be able to fill in these spot starts in these 7-inning games and just be able to help save the pitching staff and save the rotation and give Tony La Russa the flexibility there to be able to mix and match in those shortened game situations there. And it's going to be fascinating to see how he is deployed in the second half. There was obviously going to be an innings limitation with him, but missing that 30 days with the hamstring injuries may actually come back to be a blessing in disguise. I hate to say that because, you don't want to see the guy get hurt, but now, it's going to be like, go full bore here the second half and let's just unleash this animal.
You can backload him. That's the luxury that affords you. Like you said, don't like to see guys get injured, but with the timing of it, will allow for more high leverage spots there. Steve, you transitioned us into.
I'm sorry. I had one more.
I was just going to say, Steve. Yeah, he transitioned us. I was just about to talk about the bullpen underperforming, but a few bright spots, and then we can talk about, obviously this is going to be an area of need here. But go ahead, Buzz, before we get full into it.
I don't know how we didn't talk about that before, because remember in the beginning of the season when there was speculation he was on innings limit or just control, and like they wanted him to be ready for the postseason. I don't think any of us even ever brought that up. I don't think we ever batted an eye to it. I don't know if we're so scarred from all the injuries that if it just happened all year, our brains wouldn't compute actually what's happening. But that was a perfect point you brought up, Steve. I never even thought of that. And like you said, Nani, just backload it, just start dominating. Just nonstop dominate now, because if there was an innings limit, he missed a month of play, boys. I mean, that's absolutely massive. So I'm sorry, Rob, that was just one thing. I just can't believe we never talked about it.
Just sprinkle those in throughout July, August, September, October. Yes, I love that. So we will get right into the bullpen. One thing I did have, since I handed off to you guys first, was Andrew Vaughn starting to hit righties better as of late, just in these last few weeks before the All-Star break came up. I think that is huge, because you were seeing why he was touted as the best bat in his draft class. If he gets hot and you're adding power like Eloy Jimenez into the lineup at the end of the month, man, you're having some mashers, especially when guys like Yasmani Grandal are out of the lineup right now, when Jose Abreu's not hitting for the same power that you're accustomed to, and Yohan Moncada is not hitting for very much power. saying outside the ballpark, that means. Andrew Vaughn's starting to hit righties, I think, and you just saw his last game before the All-Star break, 2 home run performance. That's going to get him feeling good going into the second half. Let's talk this bullpen, though. Steve, you let it off perfectly with that. I had said, Kopech dominant when healthy, 1.2 F4 here. De facto 6 starter. We saw him do it in the 7-inning game at Boston whenever they needed another one with the kind of schedule crunch with the rainouts early on. He was able to take that and look great. And like you said, month off ability to load up more innings down the stretch here. Another guy let's talk about, since I think we hit Michael Kopech, and if any of you guys have any talking about the bullpen later on Kopech, we can go back and do that. But let's talk Garrett Crochet too, because man, that's nasty. And especially when you're talking injuries, other guys stepping up, Aaron Bummer, your big lefty arm out of the bullpen. Jace Fry was injured. I know he's not as high leverage, but he was still injured. That's another lefty arm out. Beginning of the year, Garrett Crochet able to come in. We saw it in the Twins game coming up in that 7th inning was that the Tuesday night, the rain game, and that would probably have been Aaron Bummer's spot with those two, the lefties coming up to pitch against there. So good on Crochet there. He's got a disgusting slider. And then Liam Hendricks, yes, sure, there's a little bit of shake to start. As of late, people getting a little bit antsy about not feeling as comfortable, but he was the reliever of the month for May, did not allow a home run in May. And if he gets that sort of on track, that's what you need. And you need that presence. You need his fiery attitude because we talk about how Lance Lynn is infectious to the rest of the starting rotation. Guess what? Liam Hendricks can be that for the rest of the bullpen there. So that's kind of the status of the bullpen. And obviously this is going to be an area of need. But go ahead. Any bullpen topics, names that you guys want to throw out there, this is the time to do it.
First one, Garrett Crochet. And Steve, this is something you and I text about back and forth every time he throws. And one thing with Garrett Crochet that I've noticed is you don't have that 100-mile-an-hour plus fastball anymore. And it's been somewhat concerning to me up until maybe the last appearance of Garrett Crochet where he was touching 97, 98. There's been a significant drop in his velocity since what you saw last year. And one of my, at least, conspiracy theories or theories on this whole entire thing is that he's potentially been told to dial it back to get himself through a full season, which I have my own internal argument with myself, and I'll ask you guys all this question. This kid was a starter. He was already somewhat stretched out when he came to this team last year. I know he had some injury history, but then you get into the last playoff appearance last year where Garrett Crochet leaves with an injury and all of a sudden shows back up. There was no surgery. There was nothing there where there was ever a press release that came out that said this has been dealt with outside of just rest over the offseason. So my first inclination was that Garrett Crochet was still injured to start this season. You've seen him start to ramp it up just a little bit, but Garrett Crochet looked so much scarier in 2020 than he did to start this year in 2021. And that was absolutely concerning to me because, number one, if he was going to be a starter or, just wasn't valued as a bullpen piece for this season because he had an injury last year, why not bring him back down to the minors, give him that rest, let him go through his period. If there's surgery necessary, get that done, dealt with, and get him back on track to be a starter. But he's been used in some decently high leverage roles, but he hasn't looked the same as he did last year in those roles. Velocity is a thing, and just the fear factor that came with Garrett Crochet in 2020 has not been there all the time in 2021 like I expected it to be. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
A lot of speculation he's hurt. That was a lot of speculation in the beginning, but I like your idea a lot more. I don't think they'd throw him if he was hurt. I mean, with how this season is gone, you'd think they just shut him down, right? I mean, maybe he was told to dial it back or something like that. I mean, what was it like out of his first, like, I'm just quoting the number. I don't have it on the top of my head or here pulled up in front of me, but it wasn't like 45 out of 65 pitches he threw last year or something like that were over 100 miles an hour. And we don't see that out of him anymore. He's been good though. I mean, he's 2.63 ERA and 27 and a third innings pitch. That's what I think I'm most surprised of. I know he was a little tweaked up there for a little bit, but we have not seen a lot of Garrett Crochet this year. 27 and a third is not a crazy amount of innings. We were just talking about, I know Kopech got a start this year and everything like that. Nani brought up in the beginning of the episode when Lance Lynn had his little issue, but I mean, Kopech's got 36 innings, under his belt. I think it's 36 innings somewhere in there, but I don't know. To your point, I don't know if they told him to dial back or anything like that, but it is kind of still odd, that he's not throwing like he was.
That definitely was one thing that early on in the season I noticed. And, Tony, you mentioned, some of the conversations that you and I have back and forth about that, kind of wondering, was this a concerted effort by the organization to dial things back here to get through the full 162 game season and kind of leave a little bit in the tank for late September and into October, because this team obviously has aspirations of playing games deep into the month of October here. So, the one thing that has concerned me, I would say even more so than the velocity dip from Crochet, has been the walk total has been pretty high this year. And that is something that has come back to bite him in a number of circumstances. And there have been certain instances where he's had his issues even getting left-handed hitters out. We saw that down in that disastrous weekend in Houston. Yordan Alvarez got him. He gave up another, base hit. I think it was maybe to Kyle Tucker to, kind of get that inning going there a little bit. That I think it was that Thursday or maybe it was the Friday night game down there. So there have been a couple of hiccups there. And the one thing I'm really paying close attention to, because we saw this very early on in the season, and we haven't seen it as much lately, is in the playoffs, especially, or in late September, if Cleveland does decide to make this race close again, and they have that pivotal 5-game series at the end of the month, will teams bunt on Garrett Crochet and force him to field his position and throw the baseball? Because we've seen early on in this season that is a disaster when he has been asked to do it.
Yeah, all legit concerns. That's why I wanted you guys to air it out here. But I will say, we talk about next man up, and it's been obviously more needed throughout the lineup because more of the injuries have come from that spot. But talking next man up, let's be frank with ourselves. And maybe it's not any fault of his own with the injuries, but between that and the unreliability early in the season, Aaron Bummer has not been the guy, lefty arm, out of the bullpen that you can count on so far. Sorry, he is not. So, like I said, not all his fault. Sometimes you can't control when you get injured.
Johnny, I want to ask something too.
You have a lefty arm who has that wipeout potential to come in, and that is what I think it may lead to some of these struggles being used in some of those higher level situations, maybe more so than you'd like him to. But I just wanted to make that kind of counterpoint too to all the criticisms that you guys had.
How much has the 3-batter minimum rule hurt Aaron Bummer and guys like Jace Fry? Because I don't think we've really dug into that, and nobody's been writing articles about what those left-handed specialist relievers have done since that rule change.
Tony, so I can answer that actually, because that's something that I wrote about actually about a year ago. Bummer historically has been a guy that with his cutter has actually fared very well against right-handed pitchers, or excuse me, against right-handed hitters here. So he doesn't have the drastic handedness splits that Jace Fry does. Jace Fry is a guy that, when the 3-batter minimum rule was put in place, I was legitimately concerned about him because he has historically gotten bombed against right-handed hitters. We obviously haven't seen enough of him here in 2021 to see what kind of adjustments, if anything, he has made under the tutelage of Ethan Katz. But Bummer historically has been a guy that has been able to handle guys regardless of handedness, and it's just a lot of things have snowballed on Aaron Bummer this year, for whatever the reason. There'll be a defensive error behind him, or he'll give up a little bloop infield hit, and then for whatever the reason, he just can't pitch over it this year the way he did in 2019 and 2020 when he was on the mound. I think that it's been obviously very frustrating because I'm probably the leader of the Aaron Bummer fan club, so I got to kind of wear that one a little bit.
Yeah, and it sucks. A part of it's injuries too. I mean, you can't get yourself in a rhythm if you're not able to pitch and throw, and you're spending your time rehabbing instead of working on your situational stuff like that. So, like I said, not all his fault because sometimes freak shit happens. But at the end of the day, when you're talking about the White Sox and their propensity to close out games, Aaron Bummer, who we expected to be an 8th inning guy, a setup guy, has not been reliable in that role. You cannot count on him being there in that 8th inning spot so far. So that's an area of concern here with that. This, guys, for me, has to be the number one need now. I know before we talked a little bit about, early in the month of June, it was kind of, Adam Frazier, as soon as Madrigal went down, that was kind of the hot, the flavor of the week, so to say. Then we're thinking, no, we don't have the capital and the asking price may be too high. Is he really that good? Eduardo Escobar, could he offer some pop? And then it's like, well, Larry's offering some pop now. And you're seeing it, production from guys like Brian Goodwin and all of that. So I would put right-handed reliever number one here on this priority list. I don't know about you guys when we're talking needs with the White Sox coming up at the trade deadline.
100%, Johnny. There is no more glaring issue with this team right now than the bridge from the starting rotation to Liam Hendricks at the back end, assuming Michael Kopech is not available. Even another guy we haven't talked about this year, Cody Hoyer, has not been the same guy this year. The propensity for him to give up the long ball has been very problematic this season. So I think this team absolutely needs to go out there and they need to address the bullpen. They need to get one, and I would honestly make the case even that you need two right-handed relievers to be able to go out there and feel confident that you can build that bridge from the starting rotation to Liam Hendricks on the back end.
I concur. That's just where it stands need-wise. And I think with the production you've gotten, some of these guys as of late, they're not going to be too hasty to go and get a bat here, especially when you're looking at Eloy Jimenez timeline coming back here, when you're looking at Luis Garcia's recent production. Guys that are able to fill in there. So bridge to the end of a game is definitely number one need for our White Sox here going into the trade deadline. Obviously no moves have been made as of late. So we talked about it a little bit at the beginning, guys, battling through injuries here. Eloy, Engel, Fry, Robert, Kopech, Madrigal, Hamilton multiple times, Lamb, Grandal, Moncada banged up, Abreu banged up, bummer. Sure, that doesn't even cover all of it. It's absolutely ridiculous that they've been able to come in and produce at the level that they have. And that kind of bleeds into a next point here. These guys got to be used. They got to be given a chance. Who's writing out the lineup cards every day? Tony La Russa. I don't think if the season were to end today, you can give manager of the year in the AL to anyone other than Tony La Russa. That's if it were to end today.
You can't. Yeah, you just can't. I mean, and I know a lot of people are going to hate to hear that, but I mean, listen, the White Sox, again, we talked about the record against 500 teams, but again, what they're doing against the teams that they should beat, what they're doing on the road, shows a team that's well prepared and obviously performing very well because they have the best record in the American League. One thing I wanted to touch on, Nani, when you two were talking about Adam Frazier there, obviously, it's not perfection here. My lights got shut off. My kid's got a fever. It's been a crazy day here. So, but I wanted Adam Frazier, and you and I talked about it, Johnny, on a show. We went extensive about it. I think this was during what was that? There was like the 5-game losing streak that we had in like the mid-June. Was it June 11th through like June 18th or some shit? Yeah. I don't remember. But we had an episode where we talked to a big extent about that. And then it came out what Pittsburgh was kind of expecting to get back. And listen, Frazier doesn't really hit for power. Obviously, we all know that. He does get on base. He's having a great year. He's never really done this before, but he's having a great year. So more momentum sometimes means more winning, right? I mean, it's obviously something that could definitely happen, but I'm kind of glad we didn't pull the trigger on that. I like where we're at right now, and I do agree with what you said Saturday night. You, Steve, you guys said that a bullpen arm is more needed, and I'd rather, if I have to give any sort of capital up to get a trade piece for this year, I'd rather get the bullpen arm, because as much as people are going to hate to hear this, Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert are better than trades. So I'm cool with taking that.
Doesn't cost you. Doesn't cost you.
Right. Exactly. Better than making trades, because you're getting these guys back who are absolute fucking beasts. Now into the La Russa talk. I am going to totally eat crow a million times over real quick. Not that I hated, and I've said this a million times on the show, not that I hated the hire from the beginning because of who he is or whatever. People think he represents, everybody's entitled to their opinion. That's fine. You can have your opinion on anything. I don't pay your bills. I cannot tell you what the fuck to think. So you do whatever you got to do. That's cool. I didn't like it because I felt like it was a premeditated type deal, right? Like I just thought, like, Jerry was like, well, I'm 85 years old, 86 years old. This is my buddy. And you know what? Fuck you. I'm a billionaire. I'm going to do whatever I want. And I'm going to bring my buddy back. And Jerry Reinsdorf has been on the record a million times saying that the biggest mistake he's made in I don't want to say he said his entire life, but in his sports owning life, it was something along those lines of being a franchise owner was not breaking up the dynasty Chicago Bulls. It was letting Tony La Russa go. I mean, Michael Jordan is the greatest player to ever play the game. He regrets more of letting Tony go than breaking up the Bulls. It's fucking huge if you're a Chicago sports fan. Now, I was mad because there were some names out there that I liked, and again, I felt it was premeditated, and he did piss me off with the Yerman Mercedes stuff because much like the North Side right now with what's going on with players going to the media and starting a bunch of shit, I felt like that was going to happen with the White Sox because I think I bought into a little bit of the hype. I'm a human. I could buy into that shit, and I did. Boy, how wrong was I? How wrong was I? Because I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. Tony La Russa seems to have a great relationship up and down. I mean, I'm sure like you never get along with your boss all the time. You know, I'm sure all of us here have dealt with that at one point or another in the past. But like, and you guys remember the City Edition jerseys when we were wearing, you know, like, and he's just there with a cocked hat for closers and cool managers, I guess. But he's just sitting there having a fun time with the players. And I mean, that was even a loss too. That game was a fucking loss. But I mean, and just like how he speaks so highly of guys like Tim Anderson, who people said that would be the biggest problem with. And then Tim Anderson, you know, went to the media a couple times and said, oh, well, you know, it doesn't mean we're going to listen. We're bad kids who don't listen. And he laughs it off. That means you have the relationship there to be able to joke like that within the media, not only within the media, but behind closed doors as well. You know, we don't have all the insights of what's going on in there because guess what? All four of us aren't in there. And neither are all the people that think he's a piece of shit manager on Twitter or Facebook or wherever you choose to live on social media. I'm very happy with how Tony La Russa has been this year. I don't get me wrong. I think he's fallen asleep a couple times on that motherfucking bench. I'm like 90% sure that's happened. But dude, I'm over the moon about it. I think he's been great. And if obviously the second half, boys, we know anything can change, anything. But if it continues to go down this way, and we're doing what we're doing, there is no way he does not come home with that award. That's my spiel. I'm sorry I went long there.
Given the injuries, I think that is what propels him ahead of the other ones and what he's had to work with. That's why I wanted to bring that up. And then also, you know, you talk about the fun, you know, kind of the fun stuff with him. The Gavin Sheets comment the other night when he hit a home run in front of family and friends in Baltimore. I thought that was hilarious. And that shows, you know, you saw the first reply to the video from NBC Sports Chicago was, oh, I need him to make a bad decision in game tomorrow because I'm actually starting to like him.
That's hilarious. I mean, it just doesn't. Do you have like, I want to ask, like, this is a personal question, obviously, for all of you. Like, do you have that thing, like, where if you have an opinion and, like, your opinion's so strong, right? But this is a very trivial matter. It's not like life or death or anything. It's a trivial matter. Like, you have an opinion and then you started getting disproven and you're wrong on that opinion. Do you defend that opinion till you're blue in the face and dead? Or do you adapt or understand that maybe it wasn't what you thought and begin to accept it?
Well, let's say I would be having to hope for bad Carlos Rodon starts if I were to hang on to that sort of.
And you'd be a complete dick if you did that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Adapting's fine. Adapting's fine. And education is fine. I think that's the question that you're asking here, because I've been up and down on Lucas Giolito his entire career. And you guys have seen the text messages. You know how I feel about him right now. I've said stuff about him on this show, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to root for the guy. My problem with everybody who came out there, and, you know, I've got the receipts. I still have them. Buzz, I still have the receipts from you saying you were 100% out on him, and there's nothing that can be done that can change your opinion on this.
Yeah,
because he fucked up and didn't know a rule or whatever. Like, I have all those.
Annoying. That's still annoying.
I have all those because that's what you do online these days is you wait and you save the receipts for the opinions.
Jag off.
Oh, dude, I've got you locked and loaded. No, I'm just,
great.
No, the thing with baseball or just anything in life or sports in general, your opinion can change over time. I think that's normal. It's okay to sit there and say, like, I don't like this guy. The problem with Tony La Russa's hire that got people up in arms was the DUI. It was the fact that, you know, the White Sox marketing department sent out the wrong graphic. There was a lot of things that the White Sox don't do well. And a lot of that is all business aspects. It has nothing to do with whether or not Rick Hahn or Jerry Reinsdorf or whoever wanted Tony La Russa. It's that the White Sox don't do things well. They fuck some shit up. Let's be real. Like, Johnny, we're trying to get into the parking lot for an hour and a half.
Yeah, no.
The White Sox just don't do some things well. And every organization.
Well, that was Tony's fault somehow.
Yeah, that was Tony's fault somehow. Every organization has problems with certain things. And it could be as simple as, parking lot attendants not knowing how to park cars to the graphics guy screwing something up. You don't know the end all be all of what every situation is. The fact of the matter is that the White Sox hired a manager who knows how to win. Regardless of how all of that went down, we are here now in July with the best record in the American League. People are going to want to discredit Tony La Russa because, hey, the roster looks good. Yeah, I'm sure that there are 40 other people who could run this White Sox team and still have them in a playoff spot at the end of the day. That's not a question here. The fact of the matter is that Tony La Russa has succeeded in this role. He's done it well, and that there was so many people that wanted him gone before the whole season even started and even into the season. The Yerman Mercedes incident was the climax of everybody sitting there saying, well, Tony La Russa didn't want to handle Yerman Mercedes the right way. Let's get real for a second. If Yerman Mercedes' whole entire career and his ability to hit a baseball is based off of Tony La Russa saying it was disrespectful for him to hit a lobbed pitch on a 3-0 count, Yerman Mercedes had issues that he needed to work out to begin with, because Major League Baseball players have to have thick skin. You're dealing with social media. You're dealing with fans yelling at you in the middle of the game. You're dealing with so much adversity as it is. You've got to find a way to overcome that if you're going to be long for this game. Like you said, Buzz, not everybody's going to get along with their boss. There's going to be conflict. This is not the first time a manager and a player have disagreed on something. And if you go back to White Sox Twitter, you would think that the world was fucking ending right then and there because there was a disagreement between an employer and an employee. And that's totally not the case. It's perfectly healthy to have discussion about the future of baseball, where baseball is going, how people should act inside the game, generational differences aside. It's healthy because that drives the game and it drives conversation. What did I tell you when we were heading out of my subdivision on the way to the baseball game? We were talking about whether or not Josh Donaldson should get plunked. Why did we pay $70 to watch people beat the shit out of each other in a UFC fight? We love confrontation. That's sport. There's a reason that the gladiators fought to the death, because people like watching that shit. Confrontation increases views. It increases attention towards something. I'd rather have a team that has so much attention around it because there's so much going on, and yet they're still able to succeed. This has been a wonderful year for the White Sox. I love it. I love every fucking second of it. And I cannot wait till Tony La Russa is smoking cigars with Jerry Reinsdorf on Jackson, and everybody else is down there having a good time, and we're all drunk together. World Series champions. I fucking love it. Just write the storybook right now.
Yeah, the way that you spun it was really good. It was really good. I still hate the going to the media thing. I think I'll forever hate that. But you have to understand, you don't give a fuck about basketball. You don't give a, you care about the White Sox, your favorite team. I got to deal with it on two angles here of shit like that always happening. And it comes very tiring to hear that you're a poverty franchise and you suck. Because, hey, man, it's just the truth. You hate to hear. I don't like dysfunction. I like tough shit. But I love the way that you fucking spun. It was amazing. Steve smiled the whole time. You look good today, Steve. That's all you know.
Oh, look at you. You're such a sweetheart.
Steve always looks good.
Well, all right. So this is obviously, I think, a very complex topic, despite what people want it to be. And one of the things I always say when we're having our text conversations or when we get together as a group, context matters. The context behind Tony La Russa and the decisions and some of the things that have taken place with this team matters. Okay. There have been a number of things that have taken place from a tactical standpoint that I have disagreed with. Obviously, some of the usage of the bullpen and leaving guys like Matt Foster out to dry out in Seattle. And there have been some other times of leaving Lucas Giolito in too long in that start against Detroit. So there have been tactical issues. Look, every manager is going to make tactical issues. AJ Hinch, that was the guy that I wanted. I'm sure he's made plenty of tactical issues in Detroit with a lesser roster. I'm sure he made many issues and bad decisions when he was managing the Houston Astros. that's something that's going to happen. There were obviously a number of times where I was critical of, I think, his haphazard use of the number 2 spot in the lineup. I've always been a believer in utilizing guys at the top of your order in the number 2 spot that are your best hitters. And I think he, in a number of cases, especially early on with Adam Eaton especially, had that mentality of, okay, it's the 1980s. I need a fast, slappy guy in that spot there, as opposed to having a guy that is going to get on base and be able to drive the ball and keep the line moving. Now, we have seen some adaptation from him in a number of key areas here. He is starting to utilize that number 2 spot more efficiently. With Yohan Makata, we even saw him trying Yasmani Grandal and trying some different pieces in that particular spot there. He's also now starting to utilize Liam Hendriks differently than he was early on in the season, something I was very critical of. I thought that one of the main reasons why Liam Hendriks was your main free agent signing this winter was because you have a flexible guy in the bullpen that can be plugged in a number of different spots, not just in the ninth inning to get saves when you have a lead. We're starting to see him evolve a little bit with that. So I have to give him credit for that. And one of the other things that I believe is being discounted heavily, and look, I'll say this, and I think Buzz, I think you and I talked about this when we were doing a post game a couple of weeks ago. I'm obviously a little more of an analytical bend to me at this point here. Having played, through college and things, I still have that aspect of it too. The feel aspect of it is something that gets discounted too much in the game today. And I think what we've seen with Tony La Russa plugging guys in like Brian Goodwin, like Jay Clam in that number 2 spot, or I remember being at that game against the Toronto Blue Jays in the 8th inning when the Sox, had made it up to a 4-2 lead, and he put in Adam Eaton to pinch hit. And I said, what the fuck is he doing here, putting Eaton in this spot? And then Eaton goes through, gets an RBI single. So it was like seemingly every time I would be upset about a decision he would make in that spot, it would work. So he does, I believe, have a good feel for what is going on in that clubhouse there and understanding how guys are feeling on a day-to-day basis. And he's done a tremendous job, and I will say that a tremendous job of utilizing these role players, putting them in roles and in positions to be successful. And that is part of the reason why these guys have come in and made the impact that they have while they've had these significant injuries to star players. And that can't be discounted no matter how much people want to.
Yes, Steve, very well put there on both the feel and the tactical side. I'm going to talk tactical really quick. Very few, very specific examples that I really liked. Minnesota series, and it shows adaptation. Tony's willingness to adapt. Everyone said that he wouldn't be able to do it. First of all, after that series, we saw Adam Eaton gone. I heard via Twitter.com that Eaton was Tony's boy, and there's no way he was ever getting off this team. Okay, he's gone. All right, there's one. Two, the usage of Crochet and then going to Liam Hendriks for the 6-out save in Minnesota. Everyone wanted to do that and go to Hendriks earlier on in the season, and I could see with the leverage spots what they were talking about. But does it matter in April versus fucking Texas? Or is it going to be more important to do that in that 5-game series in Cleveland when we're trying to close out the year? That's where I think he's managing it at a level that, it's easy to go and look at it and play this game in Excel spreadsheet. I think we could all do that all day if we wanted to and calculate it out and give yourself the best opportunity to win. I get that, but you're dealing with human beings here, and there is a factor. He's been around a long damn time, and he's one of the first to, really utilize the bullpen the way that it is modern. Obviously, even shifted more so today, but you talk about adaptability and using guys in the right spots, and then that allowed Hendriks to face the middle of that Twins order, and it was no problem. He struck out the side of those guys and got through the 9th inning with capped off by the great catch by Billy Hamilton, sliding through the mud, only rivaling Buzz's slide through the mud in Lot B. So that's where I'm at. Tony is adapting, and I like seeing the stuff, personal engagements with, the joke about Gavin Sheets being disrespectful for saying that how could I hit him 8th? And it was all joke. It's all joke, good stuff there for Tony La Russa. I think we're in agreement here, the AL manager. We'll see how that happens down the stretch, but this is just a season we're done today. I think you would be talking about TLR for MOY. All right, let's go and talk favorite moments from the first half. We're getting close to wrapping this thing up, boys. Favorite moments on field, just in person at the game, ballpark experience. I think, we got a highlight from Buzz. That can be one of our favorites included within this, but I'll start. I was at the Carlos Rodon no-hitter, and even though it did not turn out to be the perfect game, it was still really cool. It was cold as balls that night, but I was all bundled up in the 500 level. Got to take it with my dad. That was really cool. The home opener, same deal. Pretty cold, rainy, windy. Lance Lynn, guts and nuts, mass equals gas, gets it done. Complete game shutout. Really introduced himself to the South Side. The game against the Cardinals, when we beat Jack Flaherty, who had come in, I think, 7 or 8-0 in that game, and really took it to a Cardinals team that was atop the NL Central at the time. Obviously, they've fallen off now, but they were playing some decent baseball leading into that one. And then the one that Tony and I took in together, Yasmani Grandal's walk-off double against the Tampa Bay Rays to close out that series, take it from them, and gain the best record in baseball at that time. Obviously fluctuated since then, but at the time we were on top of the world there. Those are my favorite moments. Go ahead, list off any of yours.
I'll go with mine. I mean, just Buzz, you and I have gotten to take in a few different ball games together. You got to kiss a chicken. You did a mudslide this year. You've done some incredible things. Got to see Gavin Sheets' first major league home run together.
Yep.
Got to see a lot of fireworks. Met a lot of cool people. Steve, I've seen you at the ballpark. Jenny, I've seen you at the ballpark as well. We've gotten to take some games in. Johnny taking my son to the ballpark on an afternoon game. I know it took forever to get into the lots and into the stadium, but it was LaRusso's fault. But Yasmani Grandal walked it off that game. Just an incredible amount of good stuff in the first half of the season at the ballpark. We even all of us got to watch a White Sox winner this past weekend together. So I just enjoy watching baseball with all of you guys, and I've had a really fun time this year watching this team win.
Yeah, I think the tailgate was one of my favorite moments of getting everybody together. I know Nani wasn't there for that one, which is I don't know if the baseball gods wanted Nani to be there with us that day, because I think if Nani was there and the whole, all 4 of us were together, I'm pretty sure everything would have burned down. It was just so wild. I wish you were there, but it was just so wild. But that was one of my favorite moments. Another favorite moment was the 6 home run clinic they put on Dad's night, which is when Tony and I usually take every couple of weeks, we just take a day where we're like, yeah, we're just going to go to the ballpark and unwind here for a night. Another great moment was me and Nani catching the train, going downtown, meeting Steve was that Turtles or was that Cork and Carry?
We went to Cork.
We went to Cork. Yeah. Okay. And we went there and we went and saw a White Sox winner afterwards.
Nick Madrigal walk-off.
Nick Madrigal walk-off. Duke Coughlin was with us there. That was probably one of my favorite games. We were all there, but we were all, it was just, when you got into the stadium, who's together, who's not, whatever. But me and Steve sat together for that game. That was probably my favorite, personal moments being at the ballpark this year. I have one singular favorite moment of the year so far. I'm very happy of what they've done, but I'm just going to choose one, and that will be the Carlos Rodon no-hitter, because he is my favorite player on this team. I mean, I love Rodon. I'm a big Rodon guy. I've been a big Rodon guy. You guys know that. That is my favorite moment of this year, because a guy like him, who's been doubted, obviously. I mean, hey, man, it's not because no one wanted him to succeed. It's because of the injuries. It's not that you didn't have the stuff. It's because you couldn't stay healthy. There was issues there. And Ethan Katz is also a fucking wizard, I've been told. I have sources that told me that. He is a legit not human being. So, but Carlos Rodon's no-hitter is probably my favorite moment this year against Pittsburgh, because that was just
Cleveland,
I'm sorry. What did I say?
Pittsburgh.
That was Giolito
last year.
Sorry, I apologize. Against Cleveland. That was my favorite moment of the year, because it was, like I said, a guy who worked his ass off to get where he's at. He is now a first-time All-Star. It's fucking amazing.
You guys hit on, a lot of the big moments here for the season. Obviously, the tailgate a couple of weeks back, being able to stone cold some beers, just having a lot of fun at the torrential downpour. That was just such a good time. Buzz, Johnny, you mentioned getting together up at Turtles there, before the game, early on in the season, just getting the whole group together and just having a good time, seeing that Madrigal walk-off winner against Detroit. That was a blast. So been a lot of great moments. I've been fortunate enough to get out to 20 games already here in the first half, so it's been a lot of fun. For me, the most fun and the most therapeutic was definitely just being able to be back in the ballpark on opening day. I don't get sentimental about a lot of things in life, but not being able to go to a baseball game last year was really hard for me. I'm someone that goes, 30, 40 games a year and everything. And I'm very fortunate to be able to do that, obviously. So that's a big part of my summer for 6 months out of the year. And to have that kind of taken away from me with the pandemic last year, obviously a lot of things were taken away from people, a lot more important than that. But that's something that it means a lot to me. So to just be able to get back into the ballpark, be able to walk, up that ramp on opening day there, be able to walk in on that concourse and smell those grilled onions for the first time there and be able to sit in those seats and be able to stare out at the field. It's just like, all right, we made it. We're home. Let's go. Let's do this.
Every time I hear somebody say we made it, I think of that stupid Christy Ellis stand-up special. We made it! Like, that's exactly how I did it when we walked in the ballpark for the first time. Because when I walked to the ballpark for the first time this year, it was with Johnny. It was with Johnny, and I was so stoked to be in there. I said the same thing. I was like, "Oh my god, we made it! Like we made it! Like it was just, oh, dude, it's reliving it is almost. God, I know it sounds terrible because I fucking hate COVID and what it did. Like you said, Steve, it took way more important shit than baseball, lives. Everything. We all know that it's fucking terrible. But when we walked back in there, like made me realize how I cherish that fucking place. And how much I love it. And like I might have the same thing when I walk back into the United Center for the first time, boys. I might have the same thing when I walk back into Soldier Field for the first time. But there's something about the ballpark. It is my favorite stadium in the city. And to get back there was absolutely fucking amazing.
Yeah. I think that was kind of a moment of relief for everybody that got back to White Sox baseball this year. And one thing that I love is tailgating, guys. I love tailgating. And you guys, obviously, you put on a great tailgate with several other sites, blogs here in the White Sox Twitter sphere. And obviously busted the mudslide. I saw all the highlights from it. I was driving about 6.5 hours up to northern Wisconsin that day. So I haven't, with them bringing tailgating back, I haven't been able to experience it yet. I did go to that Friday night game for reopening night, but that was a train game. I took the train. My dad had the parking pass that we have. He drove in, so then met up with him in the game and drove back with him after. So I only went to Court and Carey before the game. I didn't get to make that first tailgate then, that Saturday. And then obviously they were, I was still on vacation during those games against the Twins. I'm going to be back. I'm hosting with Sox on Tap crew here Saturday, July 17th, White Sox Astros, 6:05, probably the best time we can possibly have game for this. So tailgate starts at 3 on Saturday. Garbage can demolition. Let's go. It's going to be wild. Flags will be up in Lot B. We are going to have a blast. We are going to trash the Astros. I know the didn't look pretty in the series that we played in before, but hey, we'll bring that fan energy. We'll be bringing the hate. We'll be all riled up, all liquored up, all lubricated from Lot B going into that game, that Saturday night game. So mark your calendars, 3 p.m. this Saturday afternoon, July 17th, White Sox Astros, Lot B tailgate. We're back.
Oh my God, it's going to be so magical.
It's going to be so fun.
Dude, it's going to be nuts. All four of us in the same place at the same time. We know what happened on Saturday. Oh my God. Can you imagine us in our element out at the ballpark? Woo, if you guys miss this, you're gonna regret it. That's for damn sure. It's gonna be a fun time. Just,
we'll have plenty of beer, but BYOB, so we never run out. That's always, we'll have coolers you can throw it in and all that. BYOB still, and look for the flag. That's the easiest spot. Don't need to. We'll post a picture when we get up there, but just look for the On Tap Sportsnet flag. It's the easiest. It'll be right there at the back of my car. Maybe you have a couple other cars lined up alongside of it. When you see the beacon, come and answer it.
Mm-hmm. It's a great way to put it. Absolutely. I don't have anything else.
I don't really have anything else either. We have the home run derby starting here in a little bit. I'm happy the White Sox are in first place in the AL Central, guys. I had fun talking with y'all. We got a guest appearance for 3 by Ren, which was just absolutely great for Sox on Tap. I think it was a first, really. But I'm just excited for the second half to start. I mean, it's nice to have a little bit of a break on some nights, maybe catch up on a TV show. Because if you're junkies like us, I don't know how the hell you watch a TV show at night because there's so much damn baseball that's on.
You don't. That's how.
You just don't. It's like, hey, did you see the new episode of Modern Family? No. It's like, what is that? I haven't watched TV in 7 years. I don't know.
It's like I always say. April through October is my busy time of year, and I don't have time for any TV. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
But yeah, I cannot wait until this Friday. I'm super excited for Tim Anderson, Carlos Rodon, Lance Lynn, and Liam Hendricks in the All-Star game. Don't get me wrong, but I cannot wait for Friday for us to get back on, get back on a win streak here. Well, we're already on a win streak, but get back into regular season play and trash the trash shows, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, big series coming up. So, yeah, we'll be with the show on Friday night, but then Saturday, I think we're planning to get everyone out there. So Saturday is the tailgate. If you're going Friday's game, double up, go Saturday too, because you got time to recover with that night game. I always try to, 3:10 game, you could do it. 1:10 game's a little rough on a Saturday, but 6:10 start, best time for a tailgate. So we're going to do it. We're going to do it up big.
Boom.
Absolutely, we are.
All right. Well, I mean,
yeah. So, guys, yeah,
go ahead. No, go ahead, Nani.
Don't fight for it. Don't fight for it. Somebody take it.
I'll take it. Okay, I'll take it. Are we gonna do picks to click? Are we gonna do picks to click for Friday's game, or you just want to ride out and just let this thing go naturally here?
You already know who mine is. So,
God, Jesus Christ, can we set some sort of goddamn rules here?
I'm not following him.
Nani, he's picked him for like 3 weeks straight.
Yeah, that's. We always said from the beginning that this thing didn't really have many rules. So.
Hashtag stay on brand.
The only rules, there are no rules.
Yeah, the only rules are there no rules. Okay, so Tony took sheets for the 7 million fucking time. So, all right, I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm gonna go take TA on Friday. I don't even care. We're not even gonna do a pitching matchup here. I'm taking TA on Friday.
Larry Legend.
There you go, Steve.
Jose Abreu. He's gonna start the second half big, baby. Bombs over Bridgeport.
Let's get it. Anything else, boys, before we ride out here and watch some dingers?
Nope.
All right, everybody be sure to go on tapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. Following us on Twitter at SoxOnTap, at OnTapSportsNet. Anywhere you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to us. 5-star rating and review because that's cool and tough. Check out Grandstand. Go to grandstandsox.com. Follow them on socials at Grandstand Sox. If you're by the ballpark, go walk over to Grandstand. Get yourself some awesome Chicago White Sox or other Chicago sports gear. Again, that is Grandstand. We'll be back on Friday when the Sox open up the series against the Houston Astros and beat the shit out of them because it's our time. It's our time. It's not their time. White Sox forever.
White Sox forever.
White Sox forever.
That's for life.